Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the Harvest Season. My name is Al,
I'm Kevin.
and we're here today to talk about farming games.
Question mark?
Yeah,
Are we? In the
something
loosest
like that.
sense.
There is farming
There
in
is.
this game.
Yes.
Today, we're going to talk about Ankora Lost Days, and you'll understand when we're finished this episode why we were questioning it, even though there is farming in the game.
There is.
Because it
About
wouldn't
as
be a
much
chibi
farming,
game without there being farming.
right? There's about as much farming in Ankora as there is farming in this podcast.
However, before that, we're going to go over some news. There's quite a bit of news. And first of all, Kevin, what have you been playing?
Okay, three primary things aside from Ankora, which I had to play, I suppose, for this show. I'm playing
hope you
Unite
did.
as always. Dodrio came out. Dodrio is really fun, really goofy. It has three heads. I like Dodrio. It's wacky. That's for people who play Unite. It's just good. It's free to play. Go give it a shot. But aside from that, the other two big things I've actually been seriously have things to talk about. Splatoon 3 came out recently.
Splatoon.
Have you ever played a Splatoon? Oh.
I played Splatoon 1.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I am in the part in my life where I can dedicate the amount of time to that as I would want. So I haven't played 2 or 3. But I played 1 quite a lot.
That's very fair. Okay, just quick. I mean, okay. First of all, Splatoon has kind of at the core been the same all three games. So if you played one, you are familiar enough. I will say Splatoon 1 I think is still my favorite of the three. Although it's the same game, they do little tweaks and things to the mechanics and the maps, right? Splatoon 3 is a lot more aggressive. It encourages more actual combat between the players, even if you're doing the main turf mode. So, I don't like that part because I'm not good at aiming. That's why I liked this first Splatoon, because I could just run away from people and spray ink everywhere. But overall it's pretty good. I will say the story, I know nobody cares about the single player mode in Splatoon, or at least that's not what you're buying it for, but it is good. It's quality in Splatoon 3. So that was a pleasant surprise. There's something of a story mode. So that's good. Splatoon 3 though. Despite my gripes, it's still a great game. It is Splatoon. And aside from that, I have been playing a game called No Man's Sky.
Oh no. Whose Sky is it then?
It's Sean. Well, it's not Sean Murray's Sky, I guess. I don't know.
It's the woman's Sky.
Yeah.
Not the man's Sky.
It's woman's land. Anyways, for people, I'm sure people have at least heard about it because it had quite a launch. That was a roller coaster of a release game. But for people who don't know, it's almost like Minecraft in space, but it's not blocky. It's it looks like you're playing a space game. Our mutual friend Mark got into No Man's Sky, and that got me back into it. And it finally clicked. I'm really getting it. You go out, you explore, you find things, you can build your little base in space, and it's really good. Have you ever tried No Man's Sky, Al?
I haven't. It's on my list. It was one of those games that I was like, I'll play it when it's on Switch, and it's coming on Switch. But now I also have a Steam Deck, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. And also, it feels like quite a big time investment game.
It's what you make out of it.
Is there a main story?
There is, in the very loosest sense. It's a
is there a point where I could go, okay, I'm finished with this game?
Yes, there is. You can do that.
Okay.
Because there's quests and stuff like that, right? And it's a quest objective driven game. The story is the weakest part, but it at the very least it's like you follow the missions to kind of get the tutorial, right? You figure out how things work and whatnot.
Kevin.
Yes.
We play Pokemon games.
Yep.
Do I look like I care about story?
There is story to care about in Pokemon, but not in No Man's Sky. You don't have to care about it. But like, oh man, it's whatever. Look, it's fun. It's flying through space is fun. Building a base is fun. You can even get pet aliens and ride them like steeds. I got a two-legged
Wow.
horse thing, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, I will say playing it with others, like like I guess a lot of things, is fun, and not even like directly play. You can do multiplayer, like you're both there building a base or whatever, but even just talking about stuff, sharing your discoveries and your experiences is really fun. Um,
Right.
right, because that's the big selling point. Like it's a big galaxy
Yeah.
with procedurally generated planets and stuff. So it's nifty. So I recommend it to people. No Man's Sky, very good.
Oh, it's on
Uh,
Game Pass.
yeah. It was rather
Mm.
appropriate. I picked it up right before Ankora. Space. Um.
Space.
All right. What about you, Al? What have you been playing?
I have been playing Ankora, obviously. I've not been playing much other than that. I did, however, pick up Trombone Champ. Have you seen this
Okay.
game yet, Kevin?
No, I see you talk about it nonstop. I don't. I didn't click on
So this
anything
is the
though.
this is the trombone Guitar Hero type thing. So it's a
Oh, is
rhythm
that what
game
it
where you're
is?
playing a trombone.
Okay. Get
It is
okay.
a very, very fun game. Especially as I've been playing it on the Steam Deck with the gyroscope. So like going up and down the trombone with moving it up and down, which is very
Okay.
fun. It's absolutely ridiculous.
What is it?
But I
I
love
need
it.
to see
And
what that looks like.
yeah, I think there was something posted in the Slack a few days ago.
I'll have to
But
check.
yeah, it's quite ridiculous. And they are apparently going to be adding a bunch of new songs to it soon, so I'm excited for
Oh,
that
okay.
because it has a
That's a,
decent number, but like not none.
right. Okay, but here's my question about that because this is obviously I think the logical question. Guitar Hero. There are a
Mm,
lot of famous bands and songs that have
mm,
guitars in them.
hmm
What music are you playing with trombone?
It just so it's mostly like what's it called, public domain stuff just now.
Okay,
Because that's the easiest way to get songs
sure.
without paying lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
But they've just been adding it to songs that don't normally have it. I mean,
Okay.
that's so like they've got like one of Mozart's symphonies. They've
Okay.
got uh, um, Old Lang Syne. They've got they've just added in. I do not know how to pronounce the name of this song, but it's the one that's commonly known as the Mexican hat dance song.
Oh,
Do you know the one I mean?
gosh. Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Do. Um.
I'll send you.
Oh,
I do not think I can even attempt to pronounce this name.
El Jarabe Tapatio? Yeah,
Sure.
El Jarabe
Sounds
Tapatio.
sounds right to me. Uh,
Yeah.
but you could have said anything and I would have said it was right to me. So like they've just added in that song. They've got
Okay.
they've got a couple of kind of custom ones. So it's good fun. There's lots of different ones, but yeah, they're not traditionally songs with trombones, which makes it more fun, I find.
Okay. Oh, that one. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just had to make sure.
Yeah,
That
that
one.
one. Yeah. So yeah, um,
Okay.
I'm enjoying that a lot, and it's ridiculous.
All right. Well, good. Awesome. I can't wait for it to be successful and we get the Square Enix trombone covers.
Yeah, I really, really do hope they get loads of other things. I would pay DLC to add more songs in. I
Okay.
legitimately would. Like, I would pay for like a Green Day pack or
Okay,
whatever,
I
like a Lizzo pack. Like, I would just add
Oh my
random
god.
trombones to songs. It'd be amazing.
Okay, I don't I think it's gonna take a minute to get those. I'm sure there are some bands that are cool and would allow it, but there's the record companies. That's a whole different ballgame, right? But
But if
I,
you waft money in their faces,
you know how much money you have to waft? A lot of money.
well,
Um,
I mean, Beat Saber managed it, so.
yeah, I guess so.
And I
Um,
know they're owned by Meta now, but they were an indie to start with. Like they
right.
weren't very well known, and then they just kicked off like this did. So it could absolutely go the same way if they wanted, if they do it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. All right.
They've got the momentum.
Yeah, I thought. Sure. Okay. I think I don't have to get into it, but you could probably go through the back door or side door of game companies. Those are probably easier to get. Sega will lend you their
Yeah, that's true.
songs.
I'm also
Oh,
assuming there's going to
cool.
be a bunch of mods for this.
Oh
So
well, of course, naturally it's on Steam, right? So yes. So yeah,
yeah,
that's the real thing, right? We're gonna hear it. But okay,
yeah,
cool. Trombone champ.
cool. Should we talk about some news?
No. When do we do that?
Oh,
No. Show's over.
rip. One Lonely Outpost. So this is a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, it is.
They
Like, whoa.
they've announced that the publishing company is taking over development of One Lonely Outpost. And the original developers will no longer be developing the game. Now
It's
this
weird.
is a little bit weird, but it doesn't look like it's a negative thing. It looks like it's like they've deliberately chosen to give the development over.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't on the official Kickstarter, I don't think they're gonna be flipping the bird, screaming like
no, I
it's a
know,
hostile takeover.
I know, but it says through this process, we've relied more and more on Freedom, that's the publisher, to invest
Mm-hmm.
staff and support the production of the game.
Mm-hmm.
As complexity increased, it became obvious that simplicity is better. A starship can only have one captain. Today, we're announcing that Freedom Games is officially taking over development of One Lonely Outpost.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see the exciting places they take it. They understand the farming sim appeal, the vision we had for a bright future and bringing a lonely planet to life, and that you all have been so patiently waiting. Freedom Games is putting in additional resources to bring One Lonely Outpost to fruition and plans to fulfill the Kickstarter. Well, I should hope so. Aurorian Studios, that's the original developers, however, is
Mm-hmm.
exiting. Trust us, this is not what we had intended. We had loved this game from the start and feel a duty to you, our fans. At this point, we have come to the conclusion that Freedom Games is the best way to get One Lonely Outpost to you, and that is what matters most of all. Freedom Games is giving us a great exit deal in spite of all the setbacks on our end, and we'll be excitedly waiting for the release of the game next year.
Like, I'm okay. Here's the thing. Like, there's a number of reasons it's gonna happen, right? The interesting thing for me is to note who's leaving in particular. They named 3 people from the original indie team. The lead named Brad, Natio, the lead artist, and Laura, the writer. Well, those 3, right? So those are 3 really important people, I would think, to a game. Um, I don't know the history here, but like, I mean, all the most of the team is staying on with the new developer, whatever. But like, oh, what leads to you handing over your baby like this? You know, I don't know if they had to. Yeah, they just knew they had to do it to make it work and just cared about it that much, or there was just a lot of friction and they just wanted to walk away. I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. It is really interesting. I would love to know like the ins and outs of what happened here because yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
right. It could be something negative. It could be because they couldn't work together, so they agreed that they would get a bunch of money and lose control of the game. That's a
Yep.
possibility.
Yep.
Like plenty of people. It's hard to say no to money when there's a lot of money on the table,
Very
or
much so.
or it
Yep.
could absolutely be that they realize that they're not the best people to develop it. I don't know.
I
It's
I'm a
it's
l-
it's all very odd.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the first one because most people who want to make a game, you don't do this. It's very rare to see that.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, hey, it's coming out, so that's good, I guess, for people who are excited. This is the space farming game for people who don't remember. It has robot cows and alien turnips. Um,
Yes. Yes. I believe also I think it was in their October, was it October they'd said August, sorry. This is October. It's only just started October. Was it in their August when they said that the game was coming next year, quarter one, March next year, I think, or was that an earlier one? Yes. Yes. Early access in March of next year. So they haven't said that's changing, but they haven't said it isn't changing. So,
so we'll see.
who knows?
I mean, at least I'm sure it'll come out because if it's a publisher, they probably have money. and can afford
Yeah.
to make a game. So good for them, I guess.
You guess.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I don't know I don't know this publisher. Have they made other games? Let's see here. Who are they? They are Freedom. What is it? Freedom Games. Our Games. I'm on their website. But see, these are the publishers. Have they developed anything? That's my question. Um.
Yeah, that is quite a
Oh,
lot of games.
they're not even that old. They're only from 2020. This is
So
also
I'm guessing
bizarre.
none of these will be developed ones they've developed then.
Yeah.
But because
I
that's
don't
too many
know,
games to
man.
have developed any of them.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You know, they say that they're encouraged by it and excited, and they believe that they have the right vision for it. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, and like I said, most of the team is staying on, so a lot of that original DNA will be there or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. So
Yep.
that's a thing.
Next, we have Spirit Tea. So this is just that they've announced their targeting release for early 2023.
Let's see. I don't remember this game at all. It's clearly Japanese. I can't see. I'm not backer, so they're not showing me the article on Kickstarter. Let's see.
Huh. The article doesn't say much. It just basically says that they're pushing release to next year. Although I don't think they'd ever announced any other time.
Okay.
Like this is
I'm
the
looking
first
over.
announcement of an actual release date, I think.
Is this the poor man's Doraemon?
It's a tea growing game.
So yes, it's very Japan influenced. They have one of
Yes.
those. What is it? Spirit Shinto gate? I don't. Oh gosh, I don't remember what they're called. Those big red gates from Japan. It's in the title.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
I
two
don't remember.
T's.
Yeah, Tori. Huh? I didn't know that's what they're called. Okay, Tori. Tori gates. All right. Well, there you go. Spirit Tea. Not the Pokemon. Not. It's not a Pokemon. It's not Sinistea. It's not Poltergeist. It's a game. Spirit Tea.
Bear and Breakfast.
Yeah, that's a game I know. Now we're talking.
So obviously the Switch release was already out. Now they've added controller support to the Steam version.
Which means I will go back to this game now. Woo!
Woo!
Good for Bear and Breakfast. I haven't kept track of numbers. I never do, but it feels like it's done well. I hope it's done well.
Who even knows? I don't think they tend to announce numbers indies generally. Like the question is, if they start making a second game or they make some more updates, they're doing fine.
Yeah, all right. You know what else is probably doing fine? Lonesome Village.
Lonesome Village. This is the Mexican game.
Yeah. I didn't care before, but I do now.
Why do you think I mentioned the Mexican hat dance song?
Yeah, there you go. Fire up Tremone Champ. Go, go, go.
Lean into the stereotypes.
Yep. Lonesome Village cross Trombone Champ.
Yeah, well, so they've said that the game has gone gold. The game is finished and ready to go. Whatever that means. I always find this idea of going gold really funny, and you never really see indies talking about it very much. It's normally big companies that do it. So I think we saw amusingly Cyberpunk 2077 went gold not long before release, and of course that went really well, didn't it?
Well,
I find it really interesting. It made sense in the original days of games because they would go gold and that would be their this is the game, and the game would then go on to the cartridges or go on to the discs and it would be sent out, and that was it. The game was done. But in this world, it doesn't really make any sense because this probably isn't even going to be the final version that we play on release day. There will be a release patch. We know there will be a release patch, a day one patch. There always is. So I don't understand what any of this means.
Well, okay.
It's pointless.
I will say, I think at the very least, it's the marker saying that this game, for better or worse, is going to be released. Right? Because game development, especially at an indie level, is very, very shaky, right? Delays and whatnot, but this is for sure it's happening. It's a point of no return. So at the very least, we have that.
I don't think it is a point of no return, though, is it?
Well, I mean, they're not going to cancel it. I don't think. Once you go gold, I don't think you'll get canceled. Like,
I
because
mean, they
that's
absolutely could.
could
Like,
they?
they're
Because
not going to, but I wouldn't have said they would anyway. But they
isn't
absolutely
from
could.
I assume that's means they're. I mean, yes, like you say, they're still going to be doing the day one patch or whatever, but they're entering manufacturing. I think that's the key thing here, right?
No, but
Like,
they're not. They're not releasing physical versions.
okay, the relative, the they're going through the approval they're talking to the stores, even the digital ones, to release it, right? Like it's happening. They're filling out the paperwork for that, I presume. So
Yeah.
I think it has some weight to it. Not a lot of like it's not done, it's not finished, like, but it's going to happen at the very least, in my opinion. Not that there was a lot of doubt with
Well,
Lonesome Village, but
yeah. I just it
it's nice to
feels
hear.
to me. I think it's pointless, and I don't like. So they've published another Kickstarter update, and it basically says they all but say they're going to announce when it's coming out next week. Basically, like they said, something big is coming next week. Are you prepared for it? Like if that's not release date announcement, then that's stupid.
It's the Trombone
But
Champ crossover.
but it just feels to me like this feels like the announcement of an announcement of an announcement. Like because they're basically saying here,
Oh, you're not wrong.
We're going to tell you when the game is coming out, or we're going to tell you that the game is coming out at some point, but we're not going to tell you yet. And it's just like, why? Just don't post it. It's just pointless.
I don't know. It could be physical release. It could be. I don't know. The buzzwords, man. You got to stay trending. Just how it is.
I feel like if you're going to tell us that the game is ready, tell us when the game's coming. Right? Don't say, "Oh, the game's ready." Okay, well, why haven't I got it then? Or why don't I know when I'm going to get it?
I
don't tell me it's ready. Don't tell me it's ready if you're not going to give me it, or tell me when I'm getting it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't say. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I'm agreeing with you.
Anyway, it'll probably come out in like 2 weeks and ruin my schedule for the podcast anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Village Monsters.
Hey, it's an announcement about an announcement.
Oh, my word. I get that people need to build up hype for these things, but here we go. Version 1.1 is coming sometime. October, apparently. Yeah, that's all. There's a bunch of other information about some of the kind of updates that are coming, but it doesn't really detail what's coming in 1.1.
No, but I'm reading about all these delays. This is fascinating stuff. These guys got sick. Their septic system failed. They got sick again. That's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I know you're just waiting for the game. You might not really care, but wow, that's a lot. I'm sorry, Village Monster people. That's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully life calms down for you soon.
Yeah. You know who life is calming down for, probably?
Yeah, well, that is a dreadful one. Oh, you've no idea.
If your game is out on Switch, it's probably you can breathe a sigh of relief of some sort.
Lemon Cake and Bunny Park releasing. Oh, they're not releasing. They're already out on Switch.
Yay! We'll pick up Lemon Cake at some point.
Good. We covered Lemon Cake last year.
What I feel has it been? It feels like it's been longer.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't longer than that.
Here, let me see.
Yeah, last year, Lemon Cake.
Okay. Well, let's go pick it up. It's. Well, I say that as someone who's not played, but the interview was really great. What?
Lemon Cake is good fun. It's a baking.
Eloise, is that her name? I always forget her name. I feel so bad. Eloise, yes, friend of the podcast. I say because she's been on here. In an interview. She's a sweetheart. She made a good game, and she makes a lot of games. Like holy moly, her output's incredible.
I know, because Capybara Spa is coming soon, and there's the horse riding one is coming soon as well. I can't remember what that one's called.
Oh gosh, I forgot about the horse one. Jeez. Can you imagine being that kind of person? I want to make a game about whatever, and then I just make it. Like,
I know.
She's a force of nature. It's awesome. Good for you, Eloise. Get that Switch money.
The Ranch of Rivershine. That's the other one.
Oh,
So Capybara Spa's out. It came out this year. And
yeah.
Ranch of Rivershine hasn't got an announced date. So Bunny Park came out January 2020. Lemon Cake came out February 2021. Capybara Spa came out March 2022. And Rancho Rivershine doesn't have a date. But if I'm going to predict things, I suspect April 2023, because that would be 13 months between each of the games.
All right. Patterns! We love patterns. We're Pokemon fans.
Oh, and there was Alchemy Story, which was April 2020.
Gosh, I totally forgot about that one.
That's four games since the start of 2020 so far.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And all of them have at least very positive overall reviews. And Capybara Spa has overwhelmingly positive.
Oh. I mean, it has that, the benefit of capybaras, which are cute.
Capybaras.
Well,
Why
the ones
not?
in that game are cute. Your opinions on real ones may vary. They're rodents of unusual size.
Ever After Falls have announced that they are planning for, let me just double check the wording they put, because I just wrote the name. Yes, they've announced that 2023 is the target for the game's release, but they're expecting it to be late in the year.
I am looking at the trailer because I didn't remember this game, to be honest. There's a lot going on in this game.
The characters have hands but no arms.
There's a rhythm.
I love the look of this game. It looks so good.
It looks like Stardew, but more stylish, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. They got those orb hands just floating around. Those Rayman hands. That's what they got going on.
The animation's so good.
They're really smooth, like really smooth. It's very nice.
Because I feel like if Stardew falls down on anything graphically, the animations are kind of pretty. But they're not bad, but they're just kind of low effort. Really, they're not like.
They lack a bit of polish. Let's say.
Yeah, but the animations in this one, they're really good.
Yep, everything's so bouncy and smooth. It's great. Man, look at that fishing rod animation, just casting that. But yeah, well, good for Ever After Falls. There's so much in this game. Holy moly! There's robots. There's a rhythm dancing game. Well, I don't know if it's dancing. There's a rhythm game. There's all these Rayman. There's talking animal people. There's a lot.
I really like. So there's as with most farming games, you will you go to sleep if you stay up too late. But the way that it happens in this one is you get caught by ghosts.
Yeah,
ghosts come and catch you and put you to bed.
That's good. I like that. That should happen in real life. That's how they force you to get through.
Oh, here you go. If you really want to push your bedtime limit, you do have a small chance of outrunning them and making it to bed before they catch you. As a penalty, if you're caught and put to bed by a spooklet, you end up sleeping so well, you'll wake up 3 hours late the following day.
Well, I will say it's not as sinister as it sounds. The ghost is saying that nothing overshadows their desire to sleep well. I mean, that could be a little
It seems
sinister.
like they say a couple of different things, and there's another one that says, as much as I'd love to watch you play, I'd rather watch you sleep all day.
Well,
now that one sounds a little bit more ominous.
Yeah, okay.
Sleep all day? Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay. It depends on your tone, I guess. Well, okay.
Kevin, this game looks so good. I really, really want it.
I'm trying to figure out what this game is. It just feels like everything, because holy moly. I repeat, there's a lot.
I mean, as you say, it's basically Stardew, but...
Yeah, it is Stardew. But with a lot in it.
We'll see how well it does it all once it releases late 2023.
You get an electric shield and you float around. What is that?
And finally, there's a lot of Doraemon Story of Seasons 2 information that's been released. I've got a link to Fogu, which details it all. I don't think we're going to go through it all just now, because obviously, in like a month and a half, we're going to actually cover the game on the podcast. But I did want to cover two things. One is that you can now have alpacas as a livestock animal, so important.
Mm-hmm.
And also you can. The farming looks pretty much how it did in the first game, which is one of the things I really liked about this game was the way that farming works. So like
Yeah.
when you water the plant, it grows immediately. Which is just such a fun little animation, and I really like seeing the growing straight away.
Yeah, that is fun. It fits well with the aesthetic. I don't know how to call it of Doraemon. I don't know. It's cartoony and cute and fun. That's a really big turnip. That was like 2 people pulling that thing. That's a really big turnip. Yeah, I mean, it's Doraemon, right? Like, we're expecting it to be just really good. What else can be said?
Well, this is the thing, because I'm a little bit worried that my expectations are too high for this game.
Oh?
Because my expectations for the previous game were obviously not very high, because I didn't know what to expect. And then it turned out to be amazing. So if I'm expecting this to be amazing, will it actually be amazing? Or
what if it is? What if it is? It could be.
What if it is? What if it lives up to my every possible wildest expectation?
I mean, yeah. I look, Doraemon, the franchise has money. The Story of Seasons people have money. There is a good chance this will be good.
Yep, I'm very excited.
I'm excited by the other Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. I scrolled down on your article, and there's A Wonderful Life updates. Oh, I need that game so bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the updates were mostly around like characters and stuff. I'm not really covering that very much. But...
yeah, that's fine. It's coming out. I'm excited. It's going.
Yep. Yeah, they've changed a whole bunch of names and all this stuff, and we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to finally play it.
Good. Yeah. I'll just save my thoughts for that episode, which I'm forcing you to make me be on.
And finally, no, that was the finally. We've covered the Doraemon.
Yay.
So that's the news.
Farming games.
Let's talk Ankora Lost Days. So just to summarize for the people, this is made by Chibig Games, who are the same people that made Summer in Mara and the other game that I've suddenly forgotten the name of, Dayland.
Okay. For context, I didn't play either of those.
Dayland was their first game, but they remade it for Switch last year. And then they made Summer in Mara, and that came out in 2020, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was our 2020 game of the year, Summer in Mara was.
Really? I don't remember that. Okay, good. Well, hey, well, that
it was a very good game. I enjoyed it very much.
Well, that's changing my thoughts on this game already.
And now we're going to talk about their new game, Ankora Lost Days. Now, I think I want to say a few things up front. First of all, there is farming in this game. I promise.
Do you? The game promised it to me. I think I've done it, and I'm still questioning it.
You could be forgiven for thinking there wasn't farming in this game because you don't actually get access to it until like at least halfway through the game. So I guess so this is very different to the previous 2 games, but also similar in some ways. So in its art style and in the way that it plays, in some ways it's very similar. So like they've got a task and quest management system that works very, very similarly to the previous ones. And actually, generally, I really like it. Although there's a couple of issues with it that we'll talk about.
I was about to say.
But in general, I really like it because I love the way that it does. It's like basically got quest lines per person, and then you see a completion percentage on each of them. And this is something I really called out in Summer in Mara and in Dayland that I really, 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 really like. In general, there is an issue in this game where sometimes it tells you to go talk to someone, but they're not ready to give you the next quest. So that is a bit of an issue. Yeah. I hope it's a bug rather than just like an oversight in the design of it. But they have, I mean, I know, Kevin, you noticed there a couple of times where you thought that you were blocked from continuing in the game.
I was genuinely concerned yesterday that I wouldn't be able to reach farming because I hit a progress glitch.
So I've come across it a couple of times, and I don't know, did you get past it? Basically, what I did was I just did some other things and then eventually
Yeah.
came back to talk to them,
Okay.
and it had progressed.
All right. First, I think let's give a little, because I have plenty of things to say about that. I think first let's just start with an overview, shall we?
All right,
Um.
all right. So it's
Okay.
a tile-based puzzle game, basically.
See, that's the first thing, right? Because you look at the trailers, you look at the art, you look at the pedigree, you think, oh, it's a survival Minecrafty
Yeah.
crafting farming, maybe a little farming in their game, and surprise, you pull off the mask, it's a puzzle game.
It's a puzzle game. And I feel like that sentence, right? A tile-based puzzle game does a better way of explaining what this game is than anything else that they've put
Yep.
out.
Yep. Because
Um
yeah, well, I just want to say, like, so yeah, one of the most interesting things from I remember from the earliest trailers was that each little, because it's a big map broken up in a grid, right? And each tile on the
yeah.
map is its own little isometric cube world, basically.
Yeah.
Its own little chunk on the map. And and so, right, so you see all the trees and you have all your tools to craft and harvest resources, but the real thing is, how do you get from one side to the other? That's your puzzle.
Mhm. Yeah.
um
And so it does that with like a number of different things. There's like you can build structures, so there's ramps and bridges, but you can also terraform. You can raise the ground up or down,
yep.
and you basically can get across any of the tiles by doing some of these things. And like as you progress, you get like more tools to do different things and
Yeah.
more structures that help you get to different things and stuff like that.
And to be clear, it is. I mean, it's still called a puzzle game, but it is not a single solution puzzle game.
No.
There's different ways to reach that other side of the square. Sometimes there is a progress blocker. Like for a good while, I couldn't break stones, but once you get the tools,
Yes.
then you can figure out how to get across stuff. In different ways, you can. You want to build a bridge, then do that, or do you want to build a path around the water because you don't have that darn rope? Because I'm always don't have the rope to build the bridge. Um.
Yeah, yeah, I know that one really annoying.
Oh.
But the other thing about this is that so you've got foraging and crafting as part of the kind of the puzzles to get the stuff, which is fine. I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what really annoys me in one of the things that they implemented in this game that they had in previous games that I think they really should not have, which is they've got a stamina system, and the stamina system in this game is just really annoying. Like I think I know why they did it because they want it to be kind of that survival kind of progression game,
Mm-hmm.
but it, for me it just felt like it was annoying rather than actually adding to the difficulty. So I think it makes sense in Summer and Mara because
Mm-hmm.
like this is an adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the major things about it is you are playing this character who's living their life and trying to go places, and part of that is about managing your resources and your food and your stamina, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game it just doesn't feel like it fits because it feels like it's a puzzle game that
Well,
also adds in this random stamina system. So all
well,
that you do is you go, oh, I can't do the thing I want to do just now. I need to rest, or I need to eat, or I need to
I,
drink. And then it just becomes annoying.
I, I can understand what you're saying, but I also feel I can also see what they're going for because the overall challenge or puzzle, the bigger puzzle of the game is basically exploring the whole map, right? That's ultimately what you're trying to do here. And
Yeah.
so the stamina system, like, yes, it prevents you from going the whole map in one go or whatever, right? Aside from
But the
a few things like
But the
you
whole
can't
the
bring
whole
tools.
system is for that though. The whole game prevents you from just going from one end to the other. Like
Yeah.
they already have all those things in place to stop that. And so adding in the stamina system just makes it annoying to do all those. Like, oh, I've spent all this time unlocking all these tools to get to this point and doing all these quest lines to get to the point where now I can do this, and and then now I have to sleep. And like, if you don't have a tent or you're not near a fire or whatever, then I actually don't never figured out whether fires work for sleeping or not because I never successfully did it. or like, oh, I need water. You need to go find somewhere that has water. And no, you can't use that river to fill up your water bottle. Of course, you can't do that. That would be too useful. So, like, I'm not sure it adds any difficulty. It just adds annoyance to me.
I mean, like, okay, like this is, I think, just clearly a different, uh, just difference in tastes because I mean, I do agree. There's a lot of things like that. Um, but like, so one of the things about the map is that there's teleport points, right? So I personally
Hmm.
think I enjoy that feeling like, oh, I finally found another teleport point. I can now come to this area without having to trek 100 squares or whatever. And there's also something important in the fact that all your changes last, right? So like, let's say you need to cross over, I don't know, 20 squares to reach a point you're trying to reach. Well, the first time you go through, okay, I've gone through like halfway through 10 squares and I've run out of stamina. But then when you warp back, you heal up and get your stuff taken care of. Because you can always warp back to your starting point, which is your ship. Once you go back to your ship and stock up and whatnot, you go through those 10 squares again, but you don't use any stamina because you've already built your paths and stuff, and then you just keep going.
Yeah, but then it doesn't. I just feel like that's not adding difficulty though, right?
Mm,
Like it just
no,
like
no, it's
I think it's fine, and I actually quite like it in games like Summer and Mara, or on Stardew Valley and stuff like that. Because like
mm-hmm.
the whole point of this game is like a life sim type game, and you can do different life sims in different ways. This game is not a life sim.
No.
This is the thing, and like it feels like they think it should be a life sim, but it's not a life sim.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's not difficulty, but it's I don't know. I just view it like another resource, if you will, like all your items and the tools you have to clear paths. But yeah, I
Mm.
don't know. Because that's the thing with a lot of these resources, right? Like I'd say the rope. Like, yeah, for building a bridge, you need to have an item called the rope, and they're relatively scarce. So either you have to, if you want one, you have to warp back and go to a certain shop because every shop has a different inventory, or you have to go back to a certain table. You have to find like a crafting table, make your own ropes. But like that, I find that just as annoying as what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the rope one particularly is annoying because it's not you don't you can technically craft it, but I don't think I've found a single one of the items you need to craft it. So
Oh,
I've
but
just had to buy every single
you,
one.
you got to kill
Um,
the plants, the little plant monsters, the red-headed
oh, is
flower
that where you get them
monsters.
from? Well,
Yeah.
I think they could make that less annoying by just allowing you to craft forage more of them, right? I don't find that stuff annoying because it's like, oh, you're just gonna get it as you go in the game, and like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I need a more rope. That's fine. Oh, look, I have some that I've already foraged. That's fine. I will create
Yeah.
a rope, right? That doesn't feel annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's kind of the whole point is like your resource management. But
Yeah.
like stamina isn't a resource and it's not something you can stock up on. It's just a thing that eventually gives up and you go, "Oh,
But
now I have to go
you
and
can get
fix
tents and
that."
bring them with you, technically.
Yeah, yeah, but
Hmm.
there's it's not, but then it just feels like pointlessness to me.
I
Like
mean,
I don't see how it adds to the fun or the challenge.
okay,
It
well,
just makes it longer
for
game.
me, I almost see. Okay, like I agree, it doesn't add to the. Well, it's not necessarily adding to the challenge or whatever, but for me, like it was all because this game is all about resource management, really, right? And for me, the stamina is usually a benchmark. Okay, I need to go back anyways because I need to go buy more rope or empty my inventory or restock on this. Because you can't. It's really hard to just do that out there in anywhere in the map. You usually have to go back to certain points to do all that. Um, so I didn't mind it too much. And like I said, because going back is not a problem because you just go through the area, you just walk through the areas that you already cleared.
Yeah, I know, and it's not like it's difficult. That's my point, right? I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult. It's just time consuming
It
and
is. I will say,
annoying.
yeah,
Because I agree with
no,
you about the rope. Like I
yeah,
do think the rope should be better as well, and I think there's some issues in terms of
no,
the
I don't,
the management things.
I don't blame you because like one of my original complaints was that just the walking's too slow and getting through the squares just
You can
alone
run.
was. Yeah, I know, but I thought that would consume my stamina, so I never
Oh,
did it.
probably. Who knows?
It doesn't. I tried it out finally. I took the plunge. And this brings me to my biggest complaint about Ankora. There's a lot yeah, there's a lot of rough edges, I would say, and a lot of it comes from
Yeah.
not being clear about things. Like like you said that you could craft the rope, right? I didn't find that out until yesterday because I just didn't bother checking the crafting table until yesterday. There was
Yeah.
no notification I learned how to do that. Um,
Yeah, I
and
think there was a lack of thinking about some of the more user experience things. So, like for example, did you know you can go to your tasks and click on it and view the map,
I
and
didn't
it will
know that
show
until
and
yesterday.
only if you view the map in that particular way will it show you where on the map you need to go for that. Like it doesn't show you on the main map.
Yes.
Um, and that was really annoying because it really wasn't obvious. You have to like open up your map and then go right trigger to the end, and then you have to click on the thing you're doing, and then you have to click to go in the map, and then
and
it will show you where you're meant to be going.
and it's confusing because some of the first quests you get are finding your spaceship parts or whatever. They say you have to
Yeah.
find the spaceship on this number square, this number square. And then later you get like, okay, you have to go to these temples, but they don't tell you where they are. So I just assume I have to look for them randomly. But then I
Mm.
discovered, like you said, no, you can just select it. No, there it is on the map. Guess I know where to go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Which is it's fine. I think it's actually because we've talked about this before about like the whether quests should tell you exactly where to go and be really obvious, or whether they should, allow you to more naturally find things. And actually,
mhm,
I think it's really good if you have both options, so that people who like to just explore and come
mhm.
across things can do that. But I don't think this is the good way to do that. I think that is
No.
in a setting on the main map.
Yeah.
So you can either view them on the main map, or you can turn it off and say no, I don't want to see those.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like such a like it could be so easy to just have your map, and when there's a tile that's got something on it, it's got a little icon on it, and then you
Mm-hmm.
click on that and it tells you which task it is that you've got that's telling you to go there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like sometimes it's really obvious when it's telling you to do things. Like there's one where it's like, oh, go to point 11 to do something. And you go, okay, cool. I'll figure out how to get up there. And actually that is where the game is fun, is when you go, right, I'm trying to figure out how to get to this square, because
Mm-hmm.
not every square you can go to every square around it. There's only
Mm-hmm.
some like in say on square 18 you might only be able to go east and west,
Yeah.
and on square
Yeah.
19 you might only be able to go north and west.
Yeah.
That figuring out where you need to go to get to that is actually the fun bit of this, I've found.
Yeah. It is. I agree. And building your actual paths, because on each square,
Yeah.
you see it tells you there's the east exit, but how do you get there?
Yeah.
You're going to build a
Yeah.
path, or you're going to build a bridge, or you're going to do whatever, right? And yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And so this goes back to the stamina thing. Like, I get the frustration there because you're chugging along, you have your path on your map that you've mapped out in your head, and then oops, all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're out of stamina, you have to go back.
Yeah.
So I,
Exactly.
I definitely get why that's frustrating.
I feel like there would be one thing that would make it less frustrating, and that would be if you had like a portable way to fast travel to the portals. Because the
Yeah,
portals are really good, and the fact that you can go, oh, I need to go there, that's fine, I can portal
mm-hmm,
to the other side of the map.
yeah,
But the fact that if I'm, because first of all, like if I'm exploring a new area, I don't know when I'm going to next come across a portal. So I don't know whether I
yeah,
can just like keep going and
mm-hmm,
hope that the next one has a portal. But
yeah,
the fact that I might be like 10 things away from a portal, and if I need to go back to get something, it'd be really nice if I could just say, right, well, just warp me back there and then I'll walk all the way back. That's fine. But
yeah,
like having to do it both directions, that's annoying.
yeah. No, I get you. Like, because you have an item called the teleporter, but it only warps you back to your ship. It would be nice if it
Yeah.
could just take you to
Yeah.
any portal
Which
instead.
which is funny because you can portal from any portal to your ship.
Yeah,
So
and
like
vice
why
versa.
it lore wise feels like it's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it not the same thing?
I don't know.
So I
Uh,
do think that there is, I think overall, I think it is a fun puzzle game. And I think
yeah.
that traversal puzzle aspect of things is actually really fun, and I had a lot of fun with a bunch of different ones, and they've got like different biomes and like different challenges on each one, and sometimes you
Mhm.
won't be able to get through one until you've unlocked a different thing.
Mhm.
That I really like. But yeah, I think a lot of the problems I've had in this game are just due to weird design decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I wanted to say. Like, I don't think I've actually run into any glitches or bugs in the game. I just think it's all weird design.
No. Other than that one about the quest that I don't know whether it's a bug or whether it's a weird
Yeah,
design
I don't know
decision.
either.
I
But
don't remember having that issue in Summer and Mara or Dalen,
mhm.
so that leads to me to think it's a bug.
Okay, I could see
But
that.
I'm not sure.
Um, but
Because I really
yeah.
do like their quest system. I really do like it. I love the fact that when you meet someone new,
Mhm.
you immediately they appear in your list of quests, and it tells you your percentage of their quest that they've completed, and it tells you when there's a new thing that you can get from them. I
Mhm.
really like that. So it means you don't have to keep going back to them to figure out when I can talk to them. But that's the key thing that's broken in this game, is that it doesn't do that. It doesn't tell you when you can go back to them, because it seems to tell you as soon as you've done something, it says go talk to them for the next quest. And you're like,
Yep.
they're not unlocked. They're not
Yeah.
giving me something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's for sure. And one of the more annoying parts of it, it's again not very clear. But I will say though, one of the strengths of Ankora is that if you ever feel stuck, like you can just go out and explore, and you'll feel like you're making progress, and it feels good
Yeah,
because
that's
again,
true.
the fun part, like you said, and I totally agree, is exploring, right? Solving the puzzles and
Hmm.
going maps. Sometimes, like you just kind of want to, I don't know, you don't even have to have a destination in mind. Just keep chugging along, and eventually you'll stumble on
Yeah.
something.
Well, because this is the thing, because by the time you finish the game, you're going to have the whole map unlocked. And
Right?
so if you're doing some just now, it's something you're not going to do at an next quest line.
Yeah.
And what I really like is the fact that you've got two ways of knowing how much of the map you've unlocked.
Yeah.
Both visually, obviously, it
Hmm.
shows you when you've unlocked a thing,
Yeah.
but there's also a percentage completion on the map, which is really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And the game doesn't tell you that, but I think that's really the overall goal, like filling up the
Hmm.
map, because then you know how to knock out the quest, no problem.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah, like like farming. That's how I found farming. It's just randomly out there in the mountain wild.
Yeah, so I guess we should talk about farming. Well, before we do, the one other thing that kind of a main mechanic to this game, and that's there is combat in
Combat
this game,
in the
which is quite common.
loosest sense.
It is very, very limited in terms of the combat.
Take your
It's not a very
spear
in-depth thing.
and you push A to poke the
Yeah,
enemy.
yeah. There's not really any dodging. You can try and run away, but most of them manage to hit you anyway. There's no blocking as far as I've not come across any shield.
Nope.
Have you come across a shield?
Nope. Not that you need it,
No.
because enemies
And
don't
they're
do
all
any
really weak.
damage.
No, they do some,
I mean, yeah, they do. But like,
but they're all pretty weak. I've
they're
never I've
really
never
weak.
been killed or knocked
I
out
no,
or anything.
I have not encountered any sort of combat challenge. It's just
The
a
most
resource point.
the closest one I got to was I had like half of my, I don't know whether it's stamina or a health bar,
Mhm.
whichever one it is that it takes away from.
Mhm.
And there was one that has like four, I think they call them demons in one square,
Uh-huh.
and so I had to take them all down, and it
Mhm.
maybe took me down to like just under a quarter of my bar. So I lost about a quarter of my
Yeah.
bar.
Uh,
And that is the most challenging one
I
I've
think
come
I know. Are
across.
you talking about the little blue stone guys? I think I know
Yeah,
which one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I encountered that. One tiny little aspect of the combat that I like. I like in general in games. That you can switch your tool. You can attack with different tools. You can
Hmm.
attack with your spear, your hammer, your saw, whatever. And some enemies will actually take different damage from them. Like those demons. I don't know what you use to attack them, but if you use the hammer, they go down super fast. Super
Oh,
fast.
really? No, I didn't. I didn't even try
Yeah.
different ones for
Yeah.
them. I just
Yeah.
assumed. Assumed the spear would be the best one for everything.
I mean, yeah,
But
that's
that's
what they tell
interesting.
you, like, that should be your go-to, but they do say, like, some enemies do respond differently, and I tried out the hammer because the demons in question here they had, like, stone heads, they looked a bit golem-like, and so, like, just naturally
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess maybe a hammer will smash them, and boy, did it smash them! Knocked them down in like 2 hits each. So
Nice.
that's fun. Um,
Nice, nice.
yeah, but yeah, overall though, it's a very nothing combat. It's just I see the
Yeah.
thing and it's either in the way or I want a resource from it.
Well, that's exactly what it is, right? And
Yeah,
and I do feel like a little bit like the combat was put in because they felt they needed to.
yeah,
And I feel like a little bit like with the farming, they were like, oh, well, we need these uh, things that you need to be able to get during the game. Oh, we can't just have them lying on the ground. I guess we'll put in combat, or I
How
guess we'll put
else
in
would it be
farming for
cottage
people to get them.
core?
Yeah. And it just feels like it was put in there just for the sake of it. And like
Yep,
honestly, I think if they hadn't bothered doing that and they'd actually put kind of more work into the design aspects of how the
the
game
exploration and
UI
stuff.
works, it would be
Over that, yeah,
better. Because this is the thing, as I've mentioned already, the exploration, the puzzle side of this is actually really strong,
it
and I
is.
think carries the game in and of itself. They didn't need to add the combat and the farming, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Let's talk farming.
I guess we're contractually obliged to. Let's do it.
So I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't really think there's much complicated to it. So first of all, I'm really disappointed of how long into the game it is. I think it's like 50% into the game,
I don't.
unless
It's
unless
really
you manage
far.
to find a shortcut.
Yeah, unless you
Um,
again, I didn't have a quest to find. I just found. I knew it existed because
yeah,
there's certain things that say like, oh, you got to build a field here, and I don't know how to do that
yeah,
yet. So I
yeah,
know it's out there.
yeah, yeah. So I suspect if you've played the game before, you can get there really quickly.
Yeah.
But if you're just following the quests in the game, you're not going to get there
Nope.
quickly. And
Gotta
it just
stumble.
feels like a weird thing to be so long into the game.
Yep.
There's a point, as you mentioned, there's a point where you get a quest that's like build a field, which is about maybe 20% into the game or something like
Uh-huh.
that. Which if they just at that point one of the characters in the game said, "Oh, hey, go to this one to learn about farming,"
Yep.
that would be so much better.
And it's
But
weird
like,
because
it's
sometimes
really
they do
weird
do
giving you
that.
such a kind of, I guess it's not really core to the game, but
Yep.
like I'm going to use that word anyway. Such a core aspect
I mean,
to
it's
be unlocking something like that half of the way into the game feels really weird.
I mean, I mean, it's one of your tools, right? Which is everything as you explore, right? Like the
Yeah,
pickaxe, right? What if you couldn't find the way to break stones until like 75%
sure,
in randomly? That would be really
sure,
weird and
yeah, yeah,
frustrating. So I agree with you, because it's a tool, to help you clear quests and advance on the map and stuff. So and what's weird is, like you said, nobody tells you where it is, but some of the other tools, people tell you where to go to find them.
yeah. They do, they absolutely do. Every single one, they're like, "Oh, this person on this square will tell you how to do it." Why didn't it
Yeah,
tell you that?
yeah.
And
It's
especially as like
really weird.
they only have like, I think they only have like 7 or 8 characters in the game. So
Ru-
like they could have added a new one that randomly told you that on a random square.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they didn't. It's the map feels really empty, and that's, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it really works for the game.
yeah.
Like if there were lots of people on every square, it would not feel like it was a fun
No,
exploration game. I actually really
no,
like how empty it is, because that
absolutely.
it's an exploration game,
Yeah, you
and
feel
when
like
you're exploring an untamed wilderness, you're not going to find people.
and to be something we didn't mention, your character named Moon, her job is an explorer. She crash lands on the planet, and she tells everyone I'm an explorer, and you feel like an explorer as you're going through this uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Um.
going back to the farming.
Yes. Sorry.
No, that's all right. No, these are. I mean, these are all really valid points. I share a lot of them with you, so I had them on my agenda too. So how the farming works? You get your hoe. You push
Ho
A
ho
to do your
ho.
to make a field. And you can plant a crop there of some kind. Um, one interesting thing, and they don't tell you, or at least I didn't catch it, is that you have to build your fields next to a water source. I don't know if you caught that,
Mm.
Al,
No, I did
because
not.
because in that area where you learn farming, they ask you to build like 4 fields or whatever, right? And so there's a little river in this area, but they ask you to build a well too. So I built my well, and there's the river, and I'm trying to build fields in just a certain shape because I wanted to or whatever. And I'm very confused because certain tiles I could farm and other ones I couldn't build the field. And then I
Yeah.
realized, oh, that's because these squares are either next to the river or next to the well, which counts as a water source. So that's important to note that you can only build them near water. Um, and then, but yeah, that's pretty much the farming.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, and
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about it. It's
but
it's it's kind of the simplest farming
yeah,
really I've found in a
what's
game like this.
and I mean, use the crops to either do quests or you can eat them because you have hunger or whatever. But
Yeah.
what's weird about it is because the game, even in the little sub maps, each little cube or whatever, it's still tile based, right? Like every tile has a obstacle or it's a space where you can do something. And there's something about the farming that feels like it should work better. Like you could turn a little cube on the map into a farm if you wanted to, you know what I mean? But there's no point to it because you don't feel like you want to stay in a certain zone. You just want to keep going along. So it is a bit of an odd inclusion in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm not necessarily saying they should not have done it, but I don't think the game would have been worse without it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that seems like a weird thing to say when we are a farming game
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay.
But
Armchair developer here. What I would have done, um, I would have made certain so like we talked about, right? Certain tiles on the map. Here's this shop. Here's that shop. Here's here's your ship. Here's whatever, right? I think they should have limited farming to certain squares. Then, like, okay, here you can build your farm and enhance it and grow resources or whatever but only here. So then it fits in with the rest of the game. Because then, okay, if I want to come back to the farm for something, I gotta wander my way or find a teleport or whatever. I think that would have been a lot more successful than just randomly throwing fields wherever there's water.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
But but yeah, I think that's. But I mean, it's again though. I think we've covered most of the mechanics and such. So I just want to say, despite all the griping, which we love to do because we're a podcast, I enjoy the game. And one thing that I haven't praised and is a shame is the music. Good heavens, is that good music in that game? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I hit this point because like I said, it does a lot of rough edges and starting it feels a little awkward maybe. But you hit this point where you're just listening to the music and you're just chugging along through empty squares and exploring, and oh man, that feels good. It's so relaxing to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I think overall the game is fun. And if you like puzzle games, you like exploration games, it's really strong and I think it would
Yeah.
be highly recommended. It has like I really like the graphics. They're really good. It feels like it's within the same universe as the other games, which is good. Obviously, you're playing a character from the previous games,
Face.
so obviously you are, but it feels very similar in those aspects, which is nice. But
Wait.
I like how they've gone. This is a very different style of game, but we're still going to make it feel like a chibi game. Like it doesn't feel like a completely different game, which is nice.
I don't have that context, so I can't speak to that. But I mean, I enjoy it as a standalone thing for sure. But wait,
Yeah,
hold on. Did you just say Moon is in from earlier games?
yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
that's
So
so
Moon
cool.
was the so she's not a protagonist in any of the games, but
Yeah.
in Dayland she like drops you off on your planet and
Uh huh.
then kind of explains some things and kind of comes back every so often to help you with things. And then in
Oh,
Summer and Mara, you just come across her having a holiday on the beach.
oh,
Like
that's
you don't
great.
actually do anything with her. She's just there and having a holiday. It's
Oh, I
great.
love that. I love when games do that. Oh, that's the best. Um, yeah. One more minor gripe, and I again, this might be an expectation from the previous two games, but some of their localization or whatever is just a little awkward, a little stiff at times.
Yeah, I suspect they don't they have because they're I think is it Spanish team or is it Italian team something like that.
They're something
Um
one of those. Yeah, I think it's
I
some
think
sort
there's
of
I think they're a
Spanish.
Spanish team.
I think so too. I saw their
Um
names. They sound Spanish.
I think I suspect their English translator is Spanish and therefore English as a second language,
I
which isn't a bad thing. But you're
yeah.
right, you do notice a few like, oh, that doesn't really feel like a
Hmm.
natural way to say that. That's all.
Yeah.
Nothing's actively confusing. It's just a little bit amusing.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, I'm not complaining about it, but like, yeah, it's tough because I know they're a small team, but they've also had a few games under their belt. Yeah, they might want to look into a little more professional or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nothing to take away, and I'm not. I don't want to give anyone a hard time over that, but just
No.
a note. Every now and then, I see things like, yeah, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we kind of generally like to talk about, would you recommend this game?
Yes, if I mean, like, it's tough to tell from the trailers, but here it is, folks. There's a map. It's an empty map. Do you want to fill out that map? If that sounds appealing to you, then play this game because it's very good at doing that. And I enjoy doing that. It's very relaxing. It's fun to build. I enjoy building my own paths and my own way. I like exploring. So if you like to do that, get this game because it's good for that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you just like Chibi and their previous games, it's fun. You get a little bit more lore. You get to follow Moon on her journey. And yeah, it's just expands the world a bit. It's good fun.
Well, that's a show, huh? That's a podcast.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Al, for having me on. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's good fun.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Kevin, where can people find you on the internet?
On my Twitter at KoopaPrez, I just mostly retweet things. I have an art account at Sprider Squared. Boy, I haven't touched that in a hot minute. I have been doing art. I got a new phone
Just
and
not been posting it.
I have not accessed that Twitter account on the new phone, so I've not been posting it. But I have been doing art, so hopefully I will fix that up and start posting art again. I've been really getting back into the art thing. But anyways, where can people find you, Al, on the interwebs?
You can find me at the ScottBot on Twitter. Scott has one T because it's a nationality, not a name.
Does bot have one T?
Well, yes, but I don't think bot tends to have two T's, whereas Scott as a name does have two T's generally.
Yep.
You can find the podcast on Twitter at THSPod. You can also find our website, harvestseason.club, where you can email us or find links to many other things, including our Patreon.
Yay! Money! Give Al money, and you can get things like the next episode of The Greenhouse, which is to be revealed on a tweet. You have to pay attention to the social media to get the announcement about the announcement.
Yeah. I've had a few new Patreons, which is exciting. Thank you all for that.
People
obviously,
listen to this.
I know, crazy idea. If you listeners can't afford that, then I totally understand. That's totally fine. You do not have to pay for this podcast to enjoy it. Your support is enough just listening.
Yep.
I think that's everything. Thank you, Kevin, again for joining me.
Thank you, Al.
And until next time, have a good harvest.
I said it for once. There, you happy?
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our Pro Farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.
I agreed to do Ankora, and as I got closer to this date for recording, I wondered, why did I agree to do Ankora? But I enjoyed it, so, that's fine.